Before the movie was done, I got thick skin. Because I've been burned before, I got baggage that you don't know of. Learn the hard way not to trust anyone. I'm not letting anyone get too close. I'm a wild one, I'm alright, love on my own. You probably think I'm hurting, but darling, I'll be fine. It's just a little heartbreak, when heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm broken, I swear that I'm alright. It's just a little heartbreak, and heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm hurting, right? But cowgirls don't cry.
Hello and welcome. You are most welcome. My name is Sara, and this is a project around my creative journey here in the Northwoods of Maine. And sometimes, as the name implies, fiber trek, I head off on other adventures to explore landscape, wool, textiles, the way they interact, and sometimes I just want to travel from my couch, and I use wool and textiles as a means to do that. So welcome. On this episode, I am going to start off by honoring my dear friend Sara Bauer of the Yarns at Yin Hoo podcast, who passed away on June 4th. And I couldn't think of another way to do that except to make one of her most favorite recipes, which is a Finnish blueberry pie, as you saw me doing, and a lemon ice cream, which she was amazed and delighted by the magic of the lemon juice and heavy cream somehow interacting in a magical way that you don't have to churn this ice cream. I met Sara through vlogging. She had an audio podcast, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with because I have been running around with her for 10 years now. So if you like the content here, you most likely would really, or did, or have really enjoyed the audio podcast that is the Yarns at Yin Hoo. Sara and I met at the Maryland Sheep and Wool in person. Prior to that, I think I gained attention, or I attended to her work. She sent a prize for one of the initial retreats that I hosted at the New England Outdoor Center. And when I started planning my Maryland Sheep and Wool visit, I reached out to Emily of the Fibretown podcast and Sara, and we kind of started to chat together. Sara and I met up initially at the festival, and we were hell-bent to get Hog Island. And I think it still exists in the fiber world, but at that point as well, there was always kind of like this missing out. Get it in your cart, check out, gotta get this color, this fiber, blah, blah. You know, it was very kind of frenzied, and we were feeling that frenzy at Maryland Sheep and Wool for Hog Island. I was very, and still continue to be interested in conservation breeds, and Sara as well. And so I left my family in the dust, and she and I took off running for, I can't even remember the name of the vendor that had Hog Island, running through Maryland Sheep and Wool in the mist and the rain, and we show up kind of heaving out of breath at this booth, and there's this very put together, you know, dapper gentleman standing behind the cash register, very calm and collected, and the two of us are heaving and we are surrounded by Hog Island, and there's no other customers in the booth. And I just knew from that moment that her willingness to participate in that bit of, you know, kind of exaggerated silliness around this conservation fiber, that I knew she was a kindred spirit from the start. So thank you, Sara, for jumping on that kind of fervored Hog Island bandwagon. We got our Hog Island, and from there we ended up heading to the Fleece Tent, and we met Emily in person. And the three of us were fast friends, and we spent the next 10 years on a chat group pretty much daily talking about projects and creativity. We did the high highs, we did the low lows. We saw a lot of changes in each other's lives, children graduating, cancer diagnoses, new master's degrees, new careers, and we shared all of it every day together. And I have felt a huge sense of inadequacy addressing Sara and a tribute here and honoring her. Her work speaks for herself, and I know that she will shine through, but it felt like an important piece of the documentation of this creative journey to bring her in here and acknowledge the fact that her physical body is gone, her spirit lives on as a bright light through not only the memories that we all have of her, but how blessed we are to have the legacy of 385 episodes of insight and wisdom, reflection, poetry. And if you're not familiar with that podcast, then what a gift. And if you are, you can join me. I'm going to be re-listening to all of those podcasts this year. I did start with episode 1. So interesting to kind of harken back over 12 years ago. I think it started in 2013 in August. And she's knitting the Alana Dakos press sleeves hat or beret. So I am here for the nostalgia knit. I, again, had a huge sense of a great weight on how to acknowledge and honor her because she was such a dear friend. But I wanted to just highlight a few words that come to mind when I think of Sara, and I will let the rest speak for itself. And again, at night, I would go through exactly what I wanted to say, but I think this kind of from the heart set of adjectives will round out her being, and as I said, she will shine through. That is, for me, resourcefulness, style, sophistication and elegance, curiosity. Sara was a trailblazer. She tried lots of different things. Her knitting was always on the fringe, and I appreciated that. She didn't go conventional in any sense of the word. So I loved that piece of her spirit of going first and trying it out and taking care of those of us that were willing to follow that path and guide us, offer advice, wisdom. Those are all things that come to mind right now when I think about Sara. I've put together a compilation of her work, her person, with a beautiful song called The Lost Words Blessing. And I was so graciously given permission to use this from the Lost Words organization. Always the squirrels interrupting all these important parts. And I just, for me, wanted to have this memory of her in a composite way with this beautiful piece. The Lost Words is a project I've talked about in the past where some nature words were exchanged in the Children's Oxford Dictionary, and Robert Macfarlane and Jackie Morris did a big project of poetry and art and song around it. And I think that particular project resonated deeply with Sara, myself, and Emily. And so I wanted to kind of have that be the touchstone as we think about Sara and all that she gave us and all that she will continue to do. So while you're enjoying this beautiful montage of beautiful work and a beautiful person and a heartfelt song, I'm going to make the lemon ice cream, and I will see you on the other side.
with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you travel far from heather, crag and river, may you, like the little fisher, set the stream alight with glitter. May you enter now as otter, without falter, into water. Look to the sky with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you journey on, past dying stars exploding like the gilded one in flight, leave your little gifts of light. And in the dead of night, my darling, find the gleaming eye of starling, like the little aviator. Sing your heart to all dark matter. Sing the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you stumble through Macher sands eroding, let the fern unfurl your grieving. Let the heron still your breathing. Let the silky swim you deeper. Little silver seeker, even as the hour grows bleaker, be the singer and the speaker, and in city and in forest, let the larks become your chorus. And when every hope is gone, let the raven call you home.
Thank you for celebrating Sara and taking a moment to feel that heartfelt loss and the joy that she brought to all of us, and being able to have a collective memory together, I think, is comforting. I appreciate the support. I know many of you knew Sara, were connected to her, listened to the podcast, as I mentioned. And so I'm glad that we all have each other to kind of lean into as we navigate this new experience without her physically here. I am having a really hard time with this segment. This is like, I don't know, the 55th take, just how to end it, because it's so monumental to me. Sara was one in a million. I'm so grateful for her friendship, kinship, and it will be a new way of being in the world without her. And I know she would want me to say, and on to the next amazing project that we're going to work on together. And it's nice to know that Sara will be there, guiding a lot of projects and creativity and problem solving, especially Power Pantry apocalyptic skills. I leaned into her a lot for that, like, substitute this, how can I make that? I have this, what should I do with it? And so I can hear her kind of guiding my hand, and I'm going to be leaning into that. So in the spirit of Sara and her kind of intentional, pragmatic way, I'm going to head on and talk about where I have been creatively over the past month. Taking a month off was an important part of sticking with this project. I felt like I had an opportunity to recharge. Obviously, I had some personal matters that I needed to attend to, and then there was work and just kind of figuring out and settling in. But of course, when you take a break from something, it can be hard to get back on the wagon. And I knew that this first episode back here in July was going to be a challenge because of the loss of Sara. And I decided that I would kind of roll everything into one. Like I took, some video of work, specifically the quilt coat. And then I'm just going to talk about my knitting here. Rob and I are preparing for a trip to head into the camp, and I know there'll be more recording there. I have some quilting plans. I'm bringing the Yell with me, and some other sweaters. So I'm hoping to kind of get on a better schedule with projects kind of guiding that as we move into the summer. Before we kick into the projects that I've been doing, I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks to those that contribute financially to the podcast, whether that's through a subscription like Patreon or, a donation on Coffee. I really appreciate the acknowledgement here on what it takes to pull these types of things together. I know that I'm no Peter Jackson, but I do try to attend to getting interesting shots and using interesting music and doing some interesting projects. And I appreciate that you add value. So thank you so much. You can like and subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment. That helps move this content out to others, which would be great and it's helpful. And you are welcome to watch ad-free over on my personal blog, fibertrek.wordpress.com. And I typically publish 2 times a month for the general population. And if you are a patron, then you usually get a bonus episode. So, you can also support the podcast by shopping my affiliate link with the Woolly Thistle, and that is linked in all of the places. That's my little pitch. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here. What have I been working on? Well, I did the Coast Coat by La Lorraine Handmade, and I used an old quilt that was given to me by my mom, and it was my grandmother's, and I think it might have been stitched by her great aunts. And I love it. On the days that I can wear it, which there have been a few here in Maine, it's like the most perfect garment. And I love the collar. It has a rolled collar. It is cropped. It has a kind of curved hem at the front. The lining of that quilt that I used was flannel, so all I did was cut up that quilt, as you might have seen, and then put it together and rebound it and covered the seams with bias binding that I made myself. And it wasn't as hard as I thought. I was a little bit like, oh, that one little thing that kind of gets in the way. But I did it. And I used a French General fabric in indigo to bind everything. And I did hand stitch it down most everywhere. So, but yeah, for me, this coat is excellent for beginners. It's a great use for upcycling things. This particular quilt, a lot of the patchwork had kind of disintegrated. I covered that with some hexagon applique, hand stitched down. I will say the one thing that I didn't like, although this doesn't have to do with the pattern, is I did stitch using the machine initially I did stitch down the bias binding to the different seams on the inside. And I think after I did kind of the yoke area, I didn't like the way that looked on the actual outside of the garment. So that's when I started hand stitching everything down. So, but I really enjoy hem stitching, so that was not a bother for me at all. So that is the coast coat. I think I'm gonna make one for my niece Annie. So there's the adult pattern and then there's like a kid youth. So I might make one for Annie, and I'm gonna ask Madison if she would like one. They're just super cozy. They come in different lengths. There's a crop, a hip, and then of course you can extend it down. It would make a great robe. I kind of wish this was like ankle length and I could just roll up into it, but I do use it a lot. Especially in the cool mornings. I'm taking it with me up to camp. It's not that, you know, I don't need a sweater, but sometimes struggling into a sweater with all of my puff sleeves and all of that. This is very generously cut, and so it fits over a variety of, you know, styles. I anticipate kind of styling this up with, you know, over a dress, something, you know, high-waisted, because it does have that crop. Something I forgot to mention, and this is a case in point with my friend Sarah, but she was a style, for me, she was my style icon. I would go to her with a lot of questions, and I learned a lot from her about proportionality and styling, and I'm thinking about this coat, and what would she say and how would she do it, and I'm kind of leaning into her wisdom there, and you know, her ability to put interesting pieces together. So that is the coast coat. I thoroughly enjoyed making it. I'm planning on making another, as you know, for the children, but I think even for me, and making a longer version. The one thing I will say about this that I didn't do is there are pockets on the front, and they're you bind them onto the front, so they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you put them inside. Can't think of it. Bagged pockets, maybe? I just chose not to do that because I didn't want to interrupt the patchwork on the coat. So that is the coast coat. Very satisfying. I also started and finished the Riddari for my niece Annie. I don't know what size I knit. I cast it on and I followed a tin can knits pattern, the dog star, and I kind of mashed that up with the Riddari, and I re-engineered it and knit it top down. So I tried it on her, and I tested my gauge, and I think it's going to fit. Fingers crossed, because every time I look at her, I'm like, she looks a little taller than I thought. Is she taller than I thought? Which, case in point, I can just rip out the bottom and extend it. But so that's finished, and I did that in the Fialopi and kind of blues and grays. So that's done. And then I met up with a friend who I had reconnected with at the spa retreat in Freeport. I knew this would all come together at some point in my head. And I had her children when I worked at Pineland Farms as the director of education there, and I ran a preschool. I had her kids, and we kind of got chatting, and we decided we wanted to get together, and we did, and we had a wonderful evening. And she was thinking about knitting the Drema by Jennifer Steingess, and I was like, you know, I wanted to re-knit that for a while. I knitted my initial one in a light gray Nash Island marl, and then the patterning was done in a darker navy color, and I really wanted the reverse. And I had bought the yarn for it, and I had bought it in the Storm Gray 4616, I think. Stormy Seas, I can't remember, something storm, water, and like a beigey oatmeal. And so I cast that on. I finished the yoke and then realized that my gauge was absolutely off, which I didn't really think it was. And then I held it up and it didn't even come close to matching the same size as my original. So I don't know how Jennifer Steingess got 4 3/4 stitches to the inch on a US 6 with Let Lopi, but that's amazing. I am knitting it on a US 8. I don't know why I didn't just go, I think I originally went to a 7, and I obviously didn't achieve it then, and now I'm on a US 8. I'm still working on the yoke, but I'm just about to finish that. So that went on the needles. And apparently, again, I just keep coming back to Icelandic. Like I finished that Fowlis Riddari and I was like immediately somehow just gravitationally pulled to more Lopi on the needles. So Drema's on the go. I'm working on that. And I've been working on my yell. This is a pattern by Marie Wallen and I've been knitting it for a long time and I just need to knit it. So just do it, Sarah. I am knitting this in Jameson's Spindrift and I cast on for the steek stitches for the armholes and now I'm just knitting for another 20 centimeters, I think, and then I will be doing some shoulder shaping. So that is going with me to the camp this weekend. I probably will take Drema too. My Agnes Kofta I have not touched. This is a design by Kristen Viola that I'm knitting in Rauma Strickgarn? Rauma Phenol. I really want to just put some time and attention into that yell. So that's going and the Drema is going and I finished another beret from the Kristen Viola book and I did that again in the Biche Bouche lamb's wool and the Biche Bouche mohair and I did that in a deep kind of teal. So blue is kind of surfacing for me right now. Had been brown and I still love that deep chocolatey brown, but I've apparently been doing a lot in blue. So the beret, the Riddari kid sweater, Drema, yell, the coast coat. Oh, I finished a whole nother row on my crochet blanket. Super excited about that. And so I am only 3 rows or 30 squares away from finishing. I'm really hopeful that I'll have enough of the kind of main color yarn I've been using, which is a 3-ply Navajo churro that I've had forever. I have a sweater out of it and now apparently I'm going to have a big chunk of a blanket out of it. So fingers crossed, but I do have a lot of charcoal kind of gray yarn in my stash. So I could even probably use Let Lopi if I ran out, but I'm really hoping I don't. So there you go, crochet, sewing, stitching, it's all been happening here this month of June. I was able to wrap up school. I'm, been dealing with some heat that's come through that's kind of made me not as excited about like getting out all the cyanotypes and getting out all the gel tape and paper marbling. But I do know that that's coming this month. I saw, and I wanted to highlight for you that 4 Keys Publishing, bookbinding. I will leave a link. He just published a introduction to paper marbling, which I thought was really great, and I'm going to link that. I have always enjoyed his bookbinding videos, and he kind of has got my brain thinking a little bit about doing some paper marbling and more books. So hopefully some of this humidity will just calm down a little bit so that I'm feeling like I want to run around and get everything out and try it all. But in the meantime, I will continue to knit. I am working on a quilt. I will update you on that next time we're together, which I'm hoping is the end of July, the end of July. In the meantime, many fond wishes and blessings to you. I will see you on the next episode. Take care.